Hi, I'm Kristen from Wild Birds Unlimited of Barrie and Newmarket, and in this video I'm going to show you how to mount your Bird Buddy smart bird feeder on our Wild Birds Unlimited advanced pole system. So if you're not familiar with the Bird Buddy, this was an idea developed on a crowdsourcing website, and I think it was Kickstarter, could have been GoFundMe, but I'm pretty sure it was Kickstarter where this started. And they got a lot of excitement and popularity and support behind them to the point where they were able to raise enough funds to make the bird feeder. And basically the concept behind it is there's a camera on the bird feeder. You can see it right here in the photo or right there behind me, that when a bird lands on the bird feeder, the software in their app is able to identify the bird and send a push notification directly to your phone with a picture of the bird and identifying what bird has visited. So this is pretty revolutionary in terms of smart bird feeding. This is one of the kind of first modern smart bird feeders we've seen on the market. And it's pretty exciting because, you know, there wasn't too much out there. There was a couple of different options, but not too much out there for capturing what birds were on your bird feeder or who visited when you weren't actually looking at your bird feeder. So think about the possibilities. I mean, you could be at work, you could be at your child's sports event, or just about doing anything, a walk on the trails birding, while still seeing who is visiting your bird feeder and enjoying that experience. So it takes your bird feeding experience almost to the next level, that you can enjoy it all the time without having to only be looking at your bird feeder, which is a special experience in itself, but this kind of takes it to another level of enjoyment, which I love. So in terms of how to mount this guy, I want to give you some tips and tricks to think about when you are working with the Bird Buddy. I'm sure a lot of folks out there watching this video are excited to use theirs, and so I hope that you're going to find this video helpful. So first of all, a couple things I noticed. The Bird Buddy, some things you have to think about before you even get it set up is, where is it going to go? Okay, so this is an important question to answer before you put out your feeder for a couple different reasons. One, you have to think about your Wi-Fi signal, because it is a smart bird feeder and it does need to click into Wi-Fi. So you need to think about how close it has to be to your home in order to be able to pick up that Wi-Fi signal. So that's one thing to think about. Second is the power source. So originally when I purchased this Bird Buddy, there was an option for a solar roof. So I opted for the solar roof. Now, the solar roof option might be standard now, I'm not 100% sure. But when I purchased it, it was an add-on. So I purchased the solar roof option, and I'm hoping that the solar roof is going to get enough sun where I've put it. But you do have to think about how it's going to charge with that solar panel. Also, you want to think about where can you easily see it, and this is important for filling it, because it's easy to put it somewhere where you can get your cool push notifications, but when it's out of sight, it might be out of mind in terms of how full the bird feeder is, because your bird feeder is not going to show you how much seed is still left in there. So you want to make sure that your feeder is full all the time so that you can take full advantage of the cool features that this bird feeder provides. So making sure you can see it and that it's easily accessible for filling. You don't want to put it somewhere really far away where it's going to be a pain to get out there with your bird seed and fill the feeder. So those are three important considerations. A fourth one would be where you're going to mount it to keep the critters out. So this is going to be a bigger dialogue here, a little bit of a talking point that we need to kind of hash through a little bit. So let's delve deeper into where are you going to mount it that the critters are not going to get it, and how are you going to do that? This was the biggest question for me when I purchased this bird feeder, because as much as I think it's an awesome idea and it's so cool, it could very easily become the squirrel buddy and not the bird buddy, because this is not a squirrel proof bird feeder. So originally when I purchased it, the idea, there was pictures showing mounting it on the side of a building, which is okay. A side of a building could be okay, but the downside is that it's nice and close to your Wi-Fi signal. The downside is that the squirrels can easily get in if it's mounted on a building. They can climb brick, they can climb wood. They have a more difficult time with vinyl, so that might be an option, but they could also jump from places on a building to get to the bird feeder. So keeping squirrels out is top priority for me, because as much as I love my squirrels, I do want this to be for the birds. So let's talk about mounting. Sadly, as much as I love this feeder, the only option out of the box is this little thin nylon rope. This is what comes with it for hanging. And like I said, as much as I love my bird buddy, I'm sorry, this is not gonna cut it. And I'll tell you why. I would not trust this thing to hang a feeder of this nature. Like, this is a fairly expensive feeder. It's a smart bird feeder. You're making an investment in a cool device. And the last thing you want is to have it come crashing down to the ground and break. And this rope, I would be scared would do that. It would take nothing for a squirrel to chew through this. They would be through it within a matter of minutes. Heck, a chipmunk might even be able to chew through this thing. And at nighttime, you'd also have to worry about raccoons. I mean, if you're hanging this in a tree, a raccoon would have no problem getting it down. And I mean, raccoons are so good with their hands, but they want to get the seed out as fast as they can, which could mean that they break a piece off. And you know, a nice, expensive smart bird feeder, you don't want that happening. You don't want it to be breaking and having to think about buying a new one. So this little nylon rope is not going to cut it. Heck, it could even blow off in the wind. I mean, I don't know, it's a windy day here today, as you might be able to hear. I wouldn't trust my bird feeder to be hanging on this. So what other options does that leave us? Well, out of the box, it does come with a mounting plate. So you can actually screw this on or leave it off. I think the intention would probably be to leave it off if you're hanging it with the rope, which don't do. I'm highly recommending against it. So you want to put that plate on and then figure out how you're going to mount it from here. So the good news is that Bird Buddy does make a wall mount. The bad news is it's sold separately. So you are going to have to purchase this if you are going to want to mount it any other way other than the rope, which we talked about you're going to need to do. So you're going to have to purchase one of these. This is the Bird Buddy wall mount. And it's basically a pretty sturdy plate with a little hole that the bird feeder fits into. Now, as much as it is sturdy, it's not my favorite mount because the bird feeder actually just sits in there and then there's no way to really secure it. So it does rotate around, which is kind of cool if you want to angle it in different ways. But the downside is that it's not that sturdy. So again, it would take probably nothing for a raccoon to pop that right off the pole there. So we have to make sure that we really critter-proof it well, which is where our Wild Birds Unlimited advanced pole system comes in super handy because it does an awesome job at that. So what I would recommend is that in addition to the wall mount, you purchase the mounting kit, the mounting hardware kit, which is perfect for this purpose. It has everything you need except for the baffle. You're gonna have to purchase that separately for setting up this bird feeder. It has a 3-foot augured pole, which goes down into the ground about 18 inches. So nice and sturdy. It's gonna go down nice and deep to hold that feeder up on the pole. It comes with another 3-foot pole, and then it has a stabilizer, which goes on top of the augured part right into the ground, again, giving it more stability. And best of all, it has the perfect flange for mounting this bird feeder. So I'm gonna show you what I've done to mount the bird feeder using the Wild Birds Unlimited Advanced Pole System combo flange and the Bird Buddy wall mount. Take that off for just a second so you can see it nice and close. Okay, so here we have our combo flange, and you'll notice there's a hole in the middle here. We have push buttons on our pole system that actually lock the flange in, so it's not going anywhere, which is great. So on the other side, we have the Bird Buddy wall mount. Now, I just found a piece of 2x4. I cut it to size. We have lots of scrap wood in the garage, so it was easy to find something. And I do recommend the 2x4 sizing because the Bird Buddy screws that come with the mounting plate are like 1.5 inches long. So they're pretty decent, which is great because that means it's really going to give it the support needed. But you do need a thicker block of wood to be able to mount this properly. So mount one flange and mount the other flange on the other side. Pretty simple. And now all I have to do is just put the Bird Buddy right in there and I'm ready to go. So we have a power source. It's close enough to Wi-Fi. I have my pole set up. And speaking of which, let's talk about where to place that pole. But basically I have everything ready to go. Okay, so placement of your Wild Birds Unlimited Advanced Pole System. Okay, so in order to keep squirrels out, it does a great job, but you have to keep it far enough away that they can't jump from something to your pole. So that is a distance of about 10 to 12 feet all the way around the pole. So what I did, you can see there's a lot of trees behind me, is I just took a measuring tape, measured 12 feet out, and that's where I put the pole into the ground, basically. Now this is a baffle. This is actually a raccoon baffle, our Wild Birds Unlimited raccoon baffle. So it has to be hung in order to be successful at keeping the squirrels out 5 feet from the ground. So the top of this baffle is 5 feet from the ground. Again, just took a measuring tape, measured 5 feet, know exactly where to put the baffle mount. And then the baffle just slides over top of the pole and sits on the mount. So at this height, a squirrel isn't going to be able to just jump over top of the baffle. So they can jump about 4.5 feet. And so this is going to really help in keeping the squirrels out. And then it's 2 feet long and has an 8-inch diameter, which is ideal for keeping raccoons out. So a raccoon is not going to be able to get by this baffle, which is awesome. So I have a solution now to keep out the chipmunks, to keep out the squirrels, and to keep out the raccoons. And so that's what I need to make sure that my bird buddy stays intact and that I get the best use out of this bird feeder. All right, so I'm just going to put this mount back up here. Let's talk about what to put in your bird buddy. So of course, I hope you know that Wild Birds Unlimited can help you not only with the pole system for mounting, but of course we have the best, freshest local bird seed for the birds in your area. And when I measured out how much seed the bird buddy could hold, it was roughly about 0.75 of a pound, so 340 grams roughly of bird seed, which looks like this. So this is how much seed it holds. It's not a small amount of seed, but it's not a large amount of seed either. So I'm thinking that this feeder is probably going to be in my yard to be filled up about every 3 days roughly. I have bird feeders that hold 5 pounds of seed that last about a week to a week and a half. I have a feeling that this bird feeder is going to be popular just where it's positioned near the trees, because birds really love to perch on the trees first and then come in. So I think that this isn't going to last too long, but we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell. So what can you put in your bird buddy? You can put just about any type of seed in there. So I'm starting with sunflower chips, and actually I have some leftover nesting blend that I'm going to put in there, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But a mix with peanuts would be good, like our Wild Birds Unlimited no mess with calcium. You could put in live mealworms, which I'm really excited to try. There are drainage holes at the bottom of the feeder, which is great. If it does get rain in the bird food, you want it to have somewhere to go. You don't want that rain to pool up and the water to pool up. So it has drainage there. So the mealworms are going to fall through unless you have a little dish for them to sit in. If you're using live mealworms, which I highly recommend. But you could use a sunflower mix in there. You could use safflower if you have blackbirds coming through. So any kind of bird seed is really going to be great. But of course, at Wild Birds Unlimited, we always recommend that you use tidy feeding options, which is seeds without shells, so that you're not constantly having to clean out the debris from the shells. There's not a great way for the birds to flick those shells out, so they could end up building up in there. You get more bang for your buck with just the meat of the seed. The no mess blends are just the meat of the seed. You don't have the mess, and it's really popular with the birds, so it's a really, really good value. So Wild Birds Unlimited no mess, nesting blend, winter super blend, choice plus blends. Those blends would be great in this bird feeder. And also, if you have a variety of different seeds, you're going to attract more variety of birds. So that's always exciting too. That's what you want. You want to get the most. And actually, there is an accessory that goes with this, which holds suet balls, which we do sell at Wild Birds Unlimited at Barrie New Market as well. And I did order one, but it hasn't come with my feeder yet. So I think it's going to be shipped out separately. So if you got that, you can also put a suet ball in there to make it even more appealing to your woodpeckers and your chickadees and your nuthatches and all those birds that love that fatty food. Okay, so Bird Buddy does have this cool scoop that comes with it for easy filling. In terms of ease of filling, it's not the easiest bird feeder in the world to fill. There's a little door back here that you pull down and you have your bird seed and you tip it in there, but I did have a little bit of spillage, so it's not the easiest one to fill. And I want to give you a close-up view of the back and how the cord goes in. So you can see the cord that runs from the solar panel down into the feeder and into the camera. And then there's a little screw right here that you screw the camera on with nice and tight. And I will say, Again, I love my Bird Buddy, but there weren't a whole lot of instructions with this bird feeder. Now, I am guessing that all the resources are on their website for people to set up their bird feeder and all of that good stuff. But I am somebody who likes to have like just some basic instructions in the box, that I know what screw is going where and what all the pieces are for. And I didn't find that with the Bird Buddy. There wasn't great instructions, so I had to kind of deduce. You know, there's this little single screw with an Allen key, and it's like, okay, where is this going? Oh, it goes in the back of the camera. Or even just like, and the app does walk you through how to set it up. You do have to have the camera fully charged before you even try it. So the first thing you're going to do when you open the box is plug it in and charge it up so that you can pair it with your device as soon as you can. Now, once it's fully charged, then at that point, you can look at putting it out and filling it up with seed. So in terms of order of operations here, charging the camera, pairing it with your phone, and while you're charging the camera, then you can set up your pull system for mounting, okay? That's how you can do it as fast as possible to get your Bird Buddy out as fast as possible. The roof is pretty sturdy. I love the drainage holes. I love these little details here of the bird feed on the little ledge. I think the idea of the ledge is that, you know, the bird stops here and that's where it gets the picture. It's kind of ensures a level ground for the birds to come in and feed. I like the size in terms of allowing the birds in our area to come in. Most birds are going to be nice and comfortable in this feeder. I anticipate my blue jays are going to have a field day with this with this bird feeder once they figure it out. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is cleaning. I don't see an easy way to take this bird feeder apart. You would have to unscrew it, make sure all the important components that are there that don't do well with water don't get wet. So you'd have to take care when cleaning this, but it does need to be cleaned. Just like any bird feeder, you need to clean it as often as you can with a 10% bleach solution. So just make sure you fully disconnect before attempting that. All right, so with all of that being said, I think it's time to set up my Bird Buddy camera, and you know, I'll keep you guys up to date with some of the visitors that I have coming to this feeder. It's pretty exciting. So I'm gonna fill up with the nesting blend. Here's my nesting blend. By the way, this does not only need to be put out during the nesting season. I love nesting blend. It's one of my favorite blends because it has so many different things in it. Bark butter bits, dried mealworms, peanuts, tree nuts. It has sunflower chips, just all the stuff that the birds go crazy for. So I have it filled in there, and calcium, which is important during nesting, but also other times of the year. It's not just nesting. And it's hard to kind of get it in level. You're gonna have to tip it to make sure that the seed doesn't go flying out from the front when you're tipping it. Also, why the lip, whoopsie, comes in handy. Oh, well, there we go. That's how you get the back off to clean it. I guess it just slides off. There we go. I guess it just slides off, and I slid it off. There we go. That was easy enough to put back together. Oh, wait. Ta-da! Ha! So here we go. Slide off. Slide on. I was just trying to show you that I just didn't want it to fly out the front. You do have to take some care when filling it. It's roughly 2 scoops with this that are going to fill it. Oh, I have a little bit of spillage here. So that's kind of the limit. 2 scoops. There, and you can see the seed is in there nicely. You can see the nice variety of seeds that I have in there for the birds. So it's going to attract a wide variety of birds, hopefully. And I'm so excited to see who the first visitor is. I don't know who it's going to be. Probably a chickadee. They're so curious. They're usually the first ones to find my bird feeders at my house. But yeah. So this is the Bird Buddy all set up. I'll let you know how I like it. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. I'm super excited, and I'm sure you're gonna love yours too. These are definitely popular gifts. We have lots of people coming in asking us about how to mount them, what to use to put them out in their yard, and I know that people are buying them as gifts for nature lovers. So another idea, if you know someone who has a bird buddy or you bought it as a gift for somebody, you may want to think about adding in, first of all, some good bird seed. That's the most important thing. That's what the birds are going to come for. They're going to want yummy bird seed that's really nutritious for them. But also the mounting hardware set. That would be an awesome gift for somebody to go along with this bird feeder. But that's it for this video. So I hope you got some good information out of it for your bird buddy, and that you enjoy feeding the birds with the bird buddy at your house. Take care, everybody.